My marriage to Sarah felt like a fairy tale, at least for the first 5 years. We were that couple, the one everyone said was #couple goals. We finished each other's sentences, laughed at the same silly jokes, and held hands everywhere we went. I was a software engineer, and she was a rising star in a top marketing firm. Life was good, predictable, perfect. But fairy tales, I've learned, often have a dark chapter. It started subtly. Sarah began working late. At first, it was once a week. "Big project, honey," she'd say, kissing me briefly before rushing out the door. I believed her, of course. I was proud of her ambition. I'd make dinner, eat alone, and save a plate for her. When she'd finally come home, exhausted, I'd warm it up, and she'd eat a few bites before falling into bed. The late nights soon became a regular thing, 3, then 4 times a week. The house grew quieter, our shared moments fewer. Then came the weekend work trips. "It's just for a day or two, a big client presentation in the city," she explained. I'd drive her to the station, feeling a pang of loneliness as her train pulled away. When she returned, she'd be distant, scrolling through her phone with a small, private smile I didn't recognize. When I asked what was so funny, she'd just wave it off. "Oh, just some work gossip." The excuses were always plausible, always related to her demanding job. I had no reason to doubt her, or rather I didn't want to. The real shift happened about 6 months in. Our intimacy, which had once been the cornerstone of our connection, vanished. When I tried to get close, she'd turn away, mumbling about being too tired or stressed from work. Our bed, once a sanctuary, became a cold, empty space between us. I started feeling like a roommate, not a husband. I tried talking to her about it. "Sarah, I miss you," I said one night, my voice thick with emotion. "I feel like we're drifting apart." She looked at me, her eyes unreadable. "I'm just so swamped, Mark. It's not you, I promise. Things will get back to normal soon." I clung to that promise like a lifeline. But things didn't get better. They got worse. She became fiercely protective of her phone. It was always face down, always on silent, always with her. One evening, a notification lit up her screen while she was in the shower. The name Alex flashed for a second, followed by a message, "Can't stop thinking about last night." My heart hammered against my ribs. Alex, I knew her colleagues. There was no Alex at her firm. My mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation, an innocent reason. Maybe it was a new client, a friend I hadn't met. I confronted her, my voice shaking. "Who's Alex?" "Sarah." She froze, her face paling. For a moment she looked cornered. Then, the mask of composure slipped back on. "He's a freelance consultant we've just hired. He's a bit intense, always emailing at all hours." The lie was so smooth, so practiced. Part of me, the part that was desperate to believe in our fairy tale, accepted it. But a new, cold knot of suspicion had formed in my stomach. The lies started to unravel piece by piece. A friend mentioned seeing her laughing with a handsome man at a bar on a night she was supposedly working late. She denied it, saying it must have been someone who looked like her. Then, I found a credit card statement with a charge for a fancy hotel I knew her company didn't use for business trips. Excuse, a booking error she had to pay for out of pocket and would be reimbursed for. Each lie was a small crack in the foundation of our marriage. The breaking point came on our anniversary. I had planned a surprise dinner at the restaurant where I'd proposed. I couldn't live in this state of confusion and denial any longer. The next day, I hired a private investigator. I felt sick doing it, like I was betraying the man I used to be, the man who trusted his wife completely. But I needed the truth, no matter how painful. 2 weeks later, the investigator's report landed in my email. It was a thick file filled with photos. Photos of Sarah. Sarah kissing a man Alex outside a restaurant. Sarah holding his hand as they walked into a hotel, the same one from the credit card statement. Sarah laughing with him, her face lit up with a joy I hadn't seen in years. They weren't just colleagues, they were living a whole other life. A life built on my trust and her deception. Each photo was a dagger to my heart. The late nights, the work trips, the exhaustion, it was all a lie. Carefully constructed wall to hide her affair. That evening, when she came home with her usual story of a tough day at the office, I didn't say a word. I just placed the printed photos on the kitchen table. She walked in, saw them, and her face crumbled. The charade was over. There were no more excuses, no more plausible denials. Just the ugly, devastating truth laid bare between us. She started to cry, to apologize, to make promises. But the words were meaningless. The woman I loved, the marriage I cherished, had been an illusion. The late nights and silent lies had done their job. They had slowly, quietly, and completely destroyed everything we had. The weeks that followed were a blur of lawyers and packing boxes. Moving out of the home we built together was the hardest thing I've ever done. Every object held a memory, now tainted by betrayal. Some days anger was all that kept me going. Other days a profound sadness washed over me, a grief for the future we were supposed to have. I started therapy, which was a game changer. It gave me a space to process the anger, the hurt, and the feelings of inadequacy. It helped me understand that her choices were not a reflection of my worth. Rebuilding my life from the rubble has been a slow and painful process. It's about learning to trust again, starting with myself. It's about finding joy in small things: a morning run, a coffee with a friend, rediscovering hobbies I'd let slide. There are still bad days, of course, moments when the ghost of our past life haunts me. But now, they are just moments, not entire days. I learned that fairy tales can end, but that doesn't mean your story is over. It just means you have to turn the page and start writing a new chapter, one that's honest and true to yourself. My story is not one of a broken man, but of a man who found his way back from the brink, stronger and more aware than before. Thank you for listening.